Okay guys, just a very quick update with Bitcoin. I was going to show you that, look, if you know what the indices are going to do, you'll have a pretty good idea what Bitcoin's going to do. I want to show you the correlation between this chart and this chart. We're going to cover your key levels, and there's a gap above we need to pay attention to. Guys, if you can get leverage trading, CoinCatch is a great option. It's no KYC, no VPN. If you want to sign up, I'll put my link up now. And guys, it takes just seconds to make a post in Discord. We came down and tested our previous high, but it takes a while to put a video up. So if you want to sign up and get access to the charts, if you want to sign up, the website's objectcrypto.com. I'll put a link up to that now. If you do sign up, make sure you contact me through the contact page, and I'll send you a Discord invite link. So there's a few things I want to cover. First of all, so I made a post in Discord, and we came down, we tested our previous high, which was close to, it was like 75,000, 73,800 around the area. And then I was talking about the Dow, said another red day for the indices. If we don't catch a bounce here, we could be headed to 32,000. And I was talking about this blue ring. So we needed to catch a bounce. We actually respect these rings. So we were at this point, so either we push up from here or we're dropping to 32K. We're going to cover that as well. But the correlation between the two is actually pretty crazy. This orange line I talked about, if we drop below, we could go much lower. Obviously, if we get above it, we could go higher. So that's what I'm going to cover in this video. By the way, guys, CoinCatch is having a special. This is the events page. I'll put a link up to it now. They're giving the best bonuses I've ever seen. 30 slots every 7 days. If you deposit $1,000, you can get $3,000 bonus. If you deposit $500, you can get $750 bonus. So do check out this event page. If you can also get free access to my charts in Discord. And if you do want to learn how to trade on CoinCatch, this is the tutorial video I put up, just showing you all the tools I use, how to set up an account. But basically, every tool I use on CoinCatch and some new features they've added, I'll show you all that in this video. And I do have timestamps down below. I'll link this video now if you want to check it out. So let's go back to the last video. So I mentioned this video was put up 4 days ago. I was talking about this orange line. And I'm saying, look, every time you break below this orange line, remember this orange ring I was talking about as well. So every time we break below this orange line, we have a pretty substantial drop. Now we are testing it as, we're below it as resistance right now, so we need to see if we get back above it. If you'll notice, we did drop, we dropped below 80K, then we came back up, tested as resistance, not before dropping down to test our previous high, which you can see is back here on I guess this was 12th of March 2024. That was near our previous high, and we pushed up. Now we do have a gap above. We're going to cover that as well. But this is your key resistance right now to pay attention to. We need to see if we get above. Remember I talked about in the last video that we were in this channel right here. Let me zoom out a bit and show you. So we're in this channel right here. All right, this is what I was talking about. I said, look, when we hit this point you would short. Now we've broken down below that channel. Now we need to see if we get back above that channel, and there is a lot of resistance there. Not only do we have the bottom of the channel, we also have a fib line. And you can see we're struggling to get back above this point. We are below the fib line. Let me make this brighter so you can see it. So we are below this fib line, and we are below the channel. So if we get back above 78,528, which is very possible, you see we came all the way up and we got rejected at that orange macro trend line. If we get above 80,700, then more than likely we're coming to fill this gap. And if we do fill that gap, we could push higher. I'll show you the top of this channel as well. But, we need to go through a few charts though. But again, as I said, we needed to get a bounce around. If we didn't bounce from this point, then the Dow's headed down to 32,000. So it seemed likely we get a bounce here. Since we dropped so much, everybody was shorting, so they want to take out those shorts. But I would like to show you, if you'll notice, this red line, right? So this was our previous high down around 73,868. We got a bounce before that point. We got a bounce around what, 74,460. But this, take note, we got a bounce last time. This was the 11th of March 2025. We got a bounce at this point. We got a wick below it, but we did bounce from it. This time we got rejected. So this orange macro trend line on Bitcoin would represent this this orange ring on the Dow around 38,627. So if you see the Dow hold support above 38,627, then more than likely we might get a pump to push us all the way back up to 42,000. If that's the case, Bitcoin will probably push higher. Take note where I made that post in Discord talking about that ring right there. It said we need to get a bounce from here, if not we're headed to 32K. Well, that right there would represent our previous high right here, our previous high going back to March 24th. So I'm just saying you can see the correlation between the two. So wait to see if we get above 80K. If we get above 80K, well, we know we're probably headed up to, well, to fill that gap, we're gonna have to push up to around 83,800. I'll show you that. But the gap above us now is close to the center Bollinger Band on the daily. Your resistance just below that, a critical resistance level, it's going to be around 82,500. That could be a point to scalp a short. But if you get above 80K, I think we're at least headed at least to fill that gap up around 83,900. And remember, this line right here, you can see this dotted green line. This has been resistance going back since we topped at 109. You see, we just rejected. So if we get above that, we could go much higher. And as I said, that third scenario could play out when we come up and test this ring. This could be potentially a point we would start consolidating, or could be a top. So we'll have to see if we continue down, if we push up. I just want you to have those key levels. Let me go through a few other charts here, guys. If we do get above 83,900, which would be bullish because we're breaking above that trend line, the top of this channel, depending when you make contacts, around 87,200. But where the channel, top of the channel, and this fib line is around 86,978. Let me move on. So this is just another example showing you your first. These are just trend lines. You can see 35,649 is a very key support level on the Dow. If we break that, though, the next lowest point I have for the Dow is around 32,000. Let's say just 32,100. But that does match perfectly with this next ring I have down below, which is around 32,000. So again, what I'm saying is pay attention to the indices. Indices lead the way for Bitcoin. If you see the indices, at least the Dow, push above 38,627, hold a support, then more than likely we're going to hold above 80K, and we're going to come up, and we're going to take out that gap above. And remember, everybody's trying to long to that gap. So we'll push up, people will think we're going to hit the gap, and then they'll drop it back down. So if we get above 80K as support, you don't want to long that point. Now you could be long right now from 70,364. I would like to see a daily open above 78,500 to be bullish up to 80K again, because that was one hell of a wick down, one hell of a wick up. But we are above support now, so you could say that this is bullish just for right now. But again, follow the indices, guys. Indices will lead the way. But just want to show you that matches this ring right here. See, this ring has been a lot of support and resistance. Actually, right here, you can see it was support, support, support. So if we break 36,800 on the Dow, we're headed 32,000, and that would be very bearish for Bitcoin. And again, that target matches with the trend line that goes way, way back. You can see this goes, I have this on the daily, but you can see this line goes way back. It goes way, way back. And you see this line has been respected going all the way back to, it was 1974. So that's a very key support level. And that just happens to match with a ring. And again, when I see confluence, I pay attention to it. So again, we're watching to see if the Dow pushes above a certain point or below. In the last video, I said if we break below, I think it was a video before, and I mentioned we were below this point. So 42,000, we should point short the Dow to expect some downside. This was our next support level. You see it was just a trend line connecting our support levels. We did break it. We're below it now. So we'll have to see what happens. And this is the D1 simple chart. Again, this is that line I was talking about. Every time we hit it, we get rejected. We did get a fake out. Almost made contact with the ring and got rejected. So again, I'm waiting to see if we get back above this orange trend line. That would be bullish if we do. Until then, I again follow the indices. But I do like to draw trend lines. Notice I connected, let me get an arrow tool here. Notice I connected this red wick here, this red wick here, and that gave us a support level here, not to mention that was close to our previous all-time high back here in March 2024. And then I connected some other wicks, this wick right here and this wick right here, and that gives us a target down here around 71,875. Again, those are just scalping targets. As I said, if we continue down, your next strongest support level is going to be around 67,500, and possibly if we dip a little lower, the next strongest support level below is going to be around 65,885. Remember the yellow, orange, and red macro trend lines I've been talking about for quite a while. So those are your points to pay attention to. But again, if we get above 80K, it is very possible what happened last time. And if we measure, when we broke past this ring, again, I said there was different scenarios it could play out. But if we measure, when we broke this ring over here, we dropped a total of about 12%, held support, pushed up, made contact with the ring, and consolidated, moved down. Well, let's see how much we've dropped since we crossed this ring. If we measure just when we crossed the ring, obviously we pushed back up, but right when we crossed the ring, we dropped a total of about 12%. So that's about the same. So if indices continue to push up, and you see you see Bitcoin hold above 80K, and then we break above this resistance level right here, right, which is currently setting around, and in the next couple of days, that's around 83,800. Well, that would be bullish up to your next resistance level is going to be up around 93,000, possibly 93,725. But if this ring does play out like the last ring, and I'm not saying it can't happen, it's very possible. We'll have to see. These tariffs are just, the markets are going crazy right now. But when we did drop, and we dropped what 12%. When we held support, we pushed up until we made contact with the ring. That was a 90% move, all right? So it is very possible we could come up and test that previous high. Let me load that chart up. Don't have that loaded currently. This is the chart I'm talking about. So it is very possible. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm saying this is one possible scenario. We could push up that ring, just keep riding up until we make contact with this previous high again. I'm not saying that has to happen, but that is our most important resistance level. You can see that's where we topped out at 108, 109. So if we push up, I mean, that is a target. I don't think we would get above 114,000, but you can see clearly every time we hit this red line on linear scale, we get rejected. There are other resistance levels above. I just wanted to show you the most important resistance level above, just in case we kept pushing up. Now let's cover. So again, I showed you where your most key levels are. Let's see here. So your most key support levels below, if we continue down, pay attention to. I would ignore this. This would just be a scalp. But if you want to go long, a nice point to go long would be 67,500 to 65,085. We get below that, well, our next support level below is going to be down here around 56,592. And I showed you this before, guys. That was just a pattern we were in. This was resistance, support, resistance, support. We flipped as support. So you know that line will be support. Obviously, that is lower because that was our resistance. And this will also be support, right? And that is right around 65,800. But like I said, guys, pay attention to the indices. They lead the way. Currently, we are underneath 80K. In my opinion, that is bearish. So if we get above 80K, guys, and we break above this trend line, that will be bullish. Maybe we just continue up until we make contact with this ring. When we do, that will be a point I will go short. I'll keep you posted when we get close to that ring. In the last video, this is the same video I mentioned earlier. It showed you your support levels. This was on the hourly 75,475. That was close to our previous high back in March 2024. You see we dipped below it a bit and we pushed up. So our gap above is right around this blue line right here is the central Bollinger Band on the daily, sitting around 84,200, 84,100. So your current resistance on the hourly right now is around 79,921. Your next resistance is around 83,300 up to the central Bollinger Band on the daily. And you can see right here, this is the gap above. So since we dropped so much on the weekend, you see how much price pushed up. Everybody's expecting us to come up and fill that gap. That gap is around 83,975. And I mentioned, in Discord, we found support here at 77,000. Let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. So we found support at 77,000. Then it became resistance. We broke above it. So again, it's very possible we push up and fill that gap, but people are longing to that gap, and then price drops, and it takes out those longs. So it could take a bit to push up to that point, but I do think that gap will get filled. It's such a substantial gap, and this is on the daily. It more than likely will get filled. We just don't know how soon. Let's see, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else I can say, guys. See, we're back below this point, so your most key level to pay attention to, and usually I gray it out because this is a level we're watching. So below, if we get a daily open below 78,500, that would be bearish in my opinion. We get a daily open above 78,500, then we're probably bullish back up to this orange macro trend line. If we get above that, then guys, we're bullish to fill that gap. Again, that gap's up around the central Bollinger Band, 83,900. And if we break above that, then the top of this channel, again, depending on when you make contact, 87,200. But it's just crazy how volatile the markets are right now. But we did hold support on that ring. So as long as we are above, and again, I know this is just the Dow, follow the NASDAQ and the S&P, but as long as we hold above 36,800, all right, the next point to watch for rejection for the Dow is 38,627. You see we pushed up, got a rejection. But if we break 36,800 on the Dow, more than likely we're headed to 32K. That's going to be very bearish for Bitcoin. If we get above 38,600 and hold support, that's bullish for the Dow. Remember that the markets tend to move together. That means your next resistance level will be where these two rings converge. There's around 42,000. That would be bullish for Bitcoin. That means more than likely we're going to push above 80K. If that holds us support, then more likely we'll fill that gap, and then we'll come up and at least test the top of this wedge. If we break at the top of this, sorry, not wedge, I meant channel. If we get back above this channel, then we can go much higher. But those are your most key levels to pay attention to. And again, guys, I wish I could put up a video sooner, but it just takes time to prep and upload these videos. Again, if you're going to leverage trading, again, CoinCash is a great option. No KYC, no VPN. And check out the events page for specials and bonuses. All those links will be pinned in the first comment description. But guys, let's just pay attention. Follow the indices. 36,800, that needs to hold. If not, we're probably headed to 32K. And the most important level right now we're watching, 78,500. Daily open below. We're bearish back down to our previous high. If we do break below our previous high, we have one fib channel, one fib line below. I think I talked about this last video, 72,680. If that breaks, I mean, we're already bearish below 78,528, but 72,000 breaks, then we're headed way down, and we'll cover those lower targets another time. But I did show you on this chart right here. Let's see. Hold on. So these are your levels to pay attention to if we continue down. I will long 67,500, 65,885. If that breaks, then 56,000. And again, like I showed you, that's because that was a very large pattern going back a long ways. So we know this will be a level to pay attention to. The question is, if we break support, again, this was, sorry guys, this was support in this pattern, right? And that would put us higher. If we break that support level, then it would be our first support level will be the bottom of this pattern, right? Because it goes higher. If that breaks, then resistance will become, right here, resistance will become our support. And then if we break 56,000, guys, then, you know, we're headed for some much lower targets, and we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get to it. That's it, guys. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.